Good morning and welcome to Oboe Windfree. Coming up today, we've got some great interviews that I recorded last week featuring Katherine Hunka and Roden talking about our latest live concert recording, which is available to purchase now on irishchamberorchestra.com. Before we go to these interviews, I wanted to let you know about some of our other online activities. As you may well have seen, we're running a series of short clips called My Instrument and I. Now be sure to check that out. Our regular Tuesday symphony carries on, enabling you to re-listen and actually sometimes re-watch some of your favourite ICO performances. We've made a great new Halloween series for children starting next week, and we are also launching a new cross-collaborative series on the 5th of November. More details to follow about this, and it will feature across all our social media channels. So, without further chatter from me, let's go and find out what Katherine had to say on a sunny morning in Limerick during last week's rehearsals at ICO headquarters. Hello, Katherine. You're rehearsing in the ICO studio today for the orchestra's next concert. What's the atmosphere like in the orchestra?
Do you know, every time we work at the moment, it feels like a big deal, like a bit of a treat. So we all got together again, and once again the sun has shone. So, you know, at break times we can't stay inside like we used to. We can't huddle together in the kitchen drinking cups of coffee. So we go outside, and by some extraordinary coincidence, every time we meet to rehearse, we're all like basking in the sunshine. So that's lovely. It's lovely to see each other. We have such a laugh. And then we're quite intensely putting together a programme for tomorrow.
That sounds wonderful. I can even hear the birds singing in the background. Can you tell me about the programme for tomorrow?
Well, we're going to play the Dvořák's Serenade for Strings, which is a big, lush load of tunes. And I chose it for that very reason. I think people need tunes. Mm-hmm. And so we're busy finding different colours and sounds and hopefully treats for the ears for our listeners.
Can you tell me about the complexity of the sounds and the way you plan to space the musicians for the concert?
So Dave Fennessy did an incredible thing when he wrote his Here to Rounds, because he's written something for 16 individuals, and it's going to be spaced out. We're actually supposed to be spaced out, so it's the perfect COVID-19 repertoire, isn't it? We have to be really spaced out in the room, and everyone has their own line, and the music goes in incredible waves of like gestures, and then another group like this. So we had an amazing time doing that this morning. It should be, if we do it right, it should be very effective, slightly eerie at times, and loads of sounds that don't sound like our instruments usually sound. Lots of sort of overtones, kind of, it sounds like aliens sometimes, something from another planet.
I love the way that you describe the music, and having listened to the piece a lot over the last week, I think it really is a very special piece of music. How does the Schubert fit into the programme? So
the Schubert Rondo, we recorded that last year, and it was released just this year in April, and we were supposed to have a tour to release that CD, and the Schubert would have been part of that tour. So I'm really delighted that we're playing it tomorrow, because it's a piece close to all of our hearts. It's extremely beautiful, sort of like a little nugget of gold, the Schubert. And it just needs, the same tunes come round again and again, and each time they come round I need to invent something new. And the ICO are a group that just responds straight away. So we're kind of telling a story. We tell a musical story with the Schubert, so we're going to start with that tomorrow.
So Louis, how's it going there?
It's going well, Matthew. Just it's good to be in. We've just finished our general rehearsal day of the concert. We're going to give a performance now in about an hour, and there's not going to be anybody in the hall, unfortunately, but we're going to do our best to make it an absolute cracking performance, and hopefully we'll send it out on the internet then for everybody to see.
Now, Louis, I know you're used to being quite a celebrity on stage. And obviously, as a natural strawberry blonde, Irish strawberry blonde, you kind of stand out quite well on a stage. I wonder if you've done anything specifically to prepare for a recorded performance as opposed to a stage performance.
Well, no, the hair is still the same, Matthew. I
Good,
still haven't,
good.
I haven't, the grey dye on the edges. I still prepare like that for the online performances, like everything else.
Yeah.
And obviously, my physique is still in absolute top form. So
Fine form.
it's
Yeah.
probably
yeah.
all the training.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, on a slightly more serious note, is it different preparing for a recorded concert than you would for a live concert?
Well, actually, I'm not sure I find it that different. It still feels like you're preparing for an absolute performance. So there's certainly no less of an effort. In fact, if anything, there's probably more of an effort because of the social distancing and playing 2 meters apart. Your senses are really up there to try and catch what's going on around.
And I spoke to Katherine earlier, and she said that it felt like a real kind of like a magical opportunity, because we don't know what the future will hold. We don't know how things will work out. And so how does it feel in that sense of kind of really seizing the day?
Well, at the moment, considering this is probably our 3rd performance in 8 months, you certainly seize the opportunity and the joy of coming in to actually play music with your colleagues, with your friends, seeing your friends again, even if it's at a distance. And also the program is beautiful. To play that Dvorak serenade, it's really something special.
Louis, have a great concert. Thank you ever so much for taking time this afternoon. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Matthew.
After the concert, I spoke to a few of the players, and they said it was a really moving performance, even with no audience, particularly as the news had just started coming in about the possible new restrictions. There was a feeling of not knowing when the orchestra might actually play together again. But Katherine sums up the roller coaster and domino effect of this much better than I can.
You know, we just did a concert with nobody in the hall, and it was just as sweaty and like hair-raising and exciting and emotional as always. And I'm so glad we can do that, because that was our first experience of this, and it's a chance we'll have to have an empty hall again, and we did our performance.
And how did Herta Rounds work in the actual space?
Theatre Rounds is all about a totally abandoned place, and so having this abandoned place without the audience, without having to make it formal on the stage, totally suited the piece.
Katherine, thank you so much for taking the time this evening. Before you go and get your normal clothes on and get ready to go home, I just wonder, could you say something to our audience members who we are missing so much?
I want to tell people that I think we just wrote them a love letter. So get your link, and because that's the only way that we can give it to you.